1948. Israel's independence is dedicated to the homeless Jew in need of a haven. The State of Israel will open its doors to the immigration of Jews from all parts of the world. For this moment, the desperate survivors of Nazism were waiting. They came from the displaced persons camps in Europe. They came from the camps in Cyprus, where the British had held them in detention to keep them out of Palestine. They came by boat from Europe and by plane from the Arab lands of the Middle East. They came to a country gripped in a life and death struggle against Arab aggression, whose resources had been exhausted by the ravages of war. They poured into the reception camps, hastily put up to provide them with primitive shelter. In the new exodus, the crippled, the sick, and the aged joined the masses yearning for freedom, and for them, special care had to be provided. Within 3 years after Israel's independence, its original population of 650,000 doubled through immigration. The two urgent challenges were jobs and homes. Many of the newcomers found work developing the country's resources in agriculture. Tens of thousands of former townsmen went to work on the land, producing food for local consumption and for export. The building materials and mineral resources of the country provided work for many. The rise of a new industry opened up jobs in all parts of the country. As time went on, building began to catch up with housing needs. By 1954, a new policy could be adopted. Reception centers for new immigrants were eliminated, while new homes were being built to replace the shanty towns. The new immigrants mainly from North Africa, were taken direct from shipside to permanent homes. They went to the newly developed rural areas. And to the new towns, which began to dot the landscape of Israel, from Kiryat Shmone in the north, down to Eilat in the south. The Ma'abarot, the transitional housing areas where the immigrants who came between 1948 and 1952 had found rudimentary homes, were gradually replaced. Their population of 200,000 in 1952 declined to 70,000, and by 1960 these pitiful structures will no longer exist. In 1956, a new chapter opened. After 5 years, Jews were again allowed to leave Poland and other lands in Europe. To rejoin their loved ones in Israel. From Egypt, too, they came. They found a country vastly different from that which had confronted the immigrant of 1948. The process of immigration absorption was now planned and orderly. The agriculture of Israel had trebled in output and needed new workers. It provided homes and work to many immigrant families. Intensive courses were created to teach the newcomers Hebrew. Industrial growth required skilled workers and offered a promising sphere for initiative. Professional men and women could now find increasing openings to service the growing population and promote the scientific advance of the country. The new towns expanded to absorb the newcomers. Throughout this period, attention had been given to the children and youth among the immigrants, the war orphans and others for whom special care was needed to prepare them for healthy, constructive citizenship. And still they come. To reunite with their families in Israel, to join the million immigrants who have come to the country since 1948. To find dignity in work and freedom. To rebuild an ancient people after the greatest catastrophe in its long and tortured history, to restore the desolation of the land to its ancient fertility, to replace despair by a new hope.